Welcome back to the Slam podcast. As we approach the final day of the season, shaping up for a tasty end. But Man City lads have secured the Premier League title as we all thought they probably would, to be honest. Will they win the treble?
I don't know. I see. It's still this thing that the guy on TikTok with the eggs, and he smashed them together since the quarterfinals, and he's been right every single time.
But there's only been one occasion there where it was a little bit audacious of the eggs, and he's definitely right-handed.
Yeah, but no, it wasn't only the right-handed ones that smashed.
He's smashing the right ones into the left ones.
Fully is.
Well, so far he's been right, and he predicted Inter Milan are going to win, and I'm predicting Inter Milan win, man. I don't think they're going to win the treble. I feel like it's too much for them, man. Too greedy.
This is the most realistic treble I've.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think they've got a very, very good chance. I think they'll do it.
But then Man United can be two different teams, can't they? So
yeah. If the refs let Rashford score offside goals again, you never know.
We might need that too.
Is Rashford's back, isn't he?
He's back. He should be back for Thursday against Chelsea.
What about your defenders?
Well, Martinez isn't back. Varane obviously has been back the last couple of weeks, so.
See what happens.
Should be a bit better, but I think Martinez is the bigger bit miss for us anyway.
Yeah.
And I feel with City, they just don't look like they're gonna have an off day at the minute.
No,
it looks really solid. The way they dismantled Real Madrid was like, it was.
Oh, that
game
was absolutely savage, man.
To be fair though, if the game against you in the FA Cup final is dead scrappy, let's say it goes to extra time and penalties, that obviously works in Inter's favour, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I can't see it. I think they're going to win the treble.
Yeah.
I think there's levels above Inter Milan.
It's
massively.
most likely. If you're just going on the odds, they're going to win it, innit?
So let's say they do.
Football's not all about paper, man.
Let's say they do. I've seen this a lot over Twitter this past week. Would you class them as a better side than United's treble winning side?
I wasn't really. I never really watched them. That was '99. I was born in 2000.
But how would those
player for player looking at it? I think this technical wise, and I think this City team's probably got better footballers in it, bar maybe a couple of exceptions.
Yeah, it's difficult to call. I mean, it's so it's a completely different game to '99 compared to modern day football.
And which is mad because that's not even footballer days.
I mean, it's our
old.
entire lifetimes. I mean, maybe not Matt's. It's our lifetime.
Literally the same age as you. But yeah. No, it's a bit hard to compare.
It is.
What about, is it better than Pep's Barcelona side? Is it the best Pep Guardiola team we've ever seen?
I think prime tiki-taka Barcelona has played some of the best football I think you'll ever see.
And they had the best player.
They had the best player of all time as well, probably. That was in there.
In terms of watching them, obviously Man United spank teams regularly, but that Barcelona team
this Man City team is my favourite Man City team out of all the Pep teams. It's to watch. It's the most entertaining, and I get the most enjoyment out of watching
City
them.
where I think they're really boring to watch, and I don't know if that's just me because I'm a United fan.
I was just sick of them winning.
But but that's just I'm bored of them winning. Yeah, it's literally that. It's too nice, too good.
City a couple of years ago played better football.
I think technically they played better, but I just find this team way more exciting. I just think with the Haaland at top just makes his team whoa, every time they play, I'm I want to see that Norwegian freak.
He's almost getting to that level now, isn't he? Of when you start the game, when you see him on the ball, you're like, fucking hell.
Yeah.
He's just going to score.
Only team he hasn't scored against.
It's
Chelsea Football Club.
It's Chelsea. Yeah.
That's just Thiago Silva, though, isn't it?
And the fact he didn't start, did he?
He didn't start. Julian Alvarez scored against him.
Just wasn't in the squad for both games.
That's how you beat him, mate.
So this whole thing of City having all these charges against them, 115 I think it is in the Premier League.
115, yeah.
Obviously they were originally banned from the Champions League. It would have been for this season before that was overturned.
Can I just say with that as well, what's even when they were originally banned, they weren't found innocent of those charges.
Not at all.
They paid the most expensive lawyers on hourly rates that you could find in the world, appealed it, challenged it until time constraints meant that you couldn't be found guilty.
Yeah.
So
it was a loophole, wasn't it? That got them out.
I mean, trying to stop a team from Man City from breaking financial laws while still letting them have all the money they have. It's like trying to catch rain in a colander or something. It's just not going to work.
It's so hypocritical of the Premier League, isn't it? To let a club be owned by a state and then go, well, hang on a minute, you're breaking our rules. It's like, well, this is always going to happen.
What I would say on that though is like for the City fans, and I mean the proper ones, not like, but what I would say is they are a fantastic football team. As much as to assemble that football team might have been like something illegal, suspect. You shouldn't have been able to do that.
But they have
football they play, and that team is just amazing. Like it is brilliant. It is a brilliant football team.
The way I see the City side, I think there's two sides of it, and they're both completely true. There's one side that they've got probably the greatest coach of all time, maybe not the greatest manager, but the greatest coach of all time. Some of the greatest players this league's ever seen, like unbelievable footballers, which has accumulated into a fantastic football team who play brilliant football. That is completely true. And then you've got the other side of it, where they've currently won a competition where they've got 115 charges against them. They're competing in a competition, in the final of a competition, where they were banned for 2 years. But both sides of that could be true, and you don't have to argue one side and that counters the other side. Both of them are just true. It's as simple as that, I think. And like I said, it's not City fans' fault. Like, they have no control over it.
I mean,
but it's like when you look at them when they bought Haaland, and that's why. Obviously, as you've just said, an amazing team. But when you look at like the signings they make, they don't just buy Erling Haaland, the best centre forward in the world.
They buy the most expensive
Julian Alvarez to sit behind him, so he can rest. I think someone summed it up brilliantly on Twitter the other day, and then it was like you say, for whatever reason they decided, we can upgrade on Phil Foden here, like,
which is mental, isn't it?
You've got a homegrown who's cost you fuck all, who's that good.
Yeah.
So we'll just go and drop 80 odd million on Jack Grealish, and they can do, and then Calvin Phillips was 40 odd million, has played about 4 minutes all season.
Well, that's the thing.
And they're not asked.
They can do that. They can bring in a top level signing and just let him be within the club for a year, let him proper meld into it, and then start playing him. I'm still convinced Calvin Phillips will be a great player for City.
I don't.
He played well against Chelsea the other day. He's a good player. He's been a good player.
Calvin Phillips doesn't establish himself in that Man City team.
I think he will.
He was.
The same way everyone was saying Jack Grealish isn't going to be able to do this too much. A year later, he's one of their best players. Calvin Phillips will make his way into that City team.
I think City will. See, and the maddest thing is, Man City will be able to sell Calvin Phillips and still get 30 odd million for him.
Yeah, because he's a great player, but I don't think that's what they want to do. I think they bring in players that slowly integrate them, not rush them in like everyone else.
The issue he's got is that Rodri is he's so much younger than I thought he was,
by
the way.
Rodri's
like 24, 25.
But they're looking to move on Gundogan. Bernardo Silva's looking like he's going to leave. Like, they're looking to change that midfield up, and I still think Calvin Phillips is going to play a pretty big role in that.
Potentially. I can see them cashing on, and to be honest, especially if I think a lot of it, to be honest, what happens with these ongoing Premier League charges. Say like they do get found guilty to a point. I'm not like I think it's highly unlikely you're going to see like historic point deductions and stuff like that. Like, it's never going to happen. But if they get told like your books need to fall in within these levels, like your situation at the minute where you need to offload players for like next season, I think he's the standout. Like, he's one of them players.
One of the ones that could go. I think they're more likely to cash in on some of their older players that have built up such a prestigious reputation in European football, like your Gundogans, like your Bernardo Silvas, and then sell them on.
Do you think they'll
rather
sell them,
than their young assets?
I think they just go on freeze at the end of the contract.
Maybe, but that will still get massive wages off their books. It will still be helpful. But I don't think they're going to look to sell, unless obviously they really get clamped down on, which again I just don't really see happening.
Yeah. So, would you say Arsenal bottled it? I mean, I personally think this is quite harsh because City have gone on an unbelievable run.
I don't think Arsenal
I'd say it's definitely harsh to say they bottled it, but I don't think it's harsh to say that they just fucked it up at the end. They really just gave up. They just took their foot off the pedal and went, we've lost. Oh well.
We have pushed City closer in the last 5 years than Arsenal have this season. Yeah. And I wouldn't say we bottled it and we took them longer, but bottled it. No, I think they were just. I don't think they were ever good enough to win it.
It's just the thing that they were top of the table for 93%. More than anyone's ever been, and then they lose by like however many points they're going to lose by it now. Yeah. It's not great, and I think bottled it is a bit harsh, but they
I was an
definitely
Arsenal fan,
messed
though.
it
I'd
up.
be absolutely buzzing looking at that squad because didn't I say the other week that it's literally just kids in Granit Xhaka? Like,
Yeah.
So going forward, realistically, they should only improve. With a bit of like recruitment as well, if they get it right next summer, they should be like next season they should properly be contending.
Yeah, I think getting rid of Xhaka, bringing in Declan Rice, that's great business. They can bring in another number 9 as well, a bit more of a goal scoring number 9. Although you don't want to mess with the flow, like you can mess like this team's clearly in such a good way, or they were until they started just drawing and losing games.
Well, that's it. Like when you tweak it to try and get that extra little bit of perfection. Can you derail the entire system?
I think you can. But I do think Declan Rice is just a prime sign. I think he would fit that team so well. I think he'd mould in. He knows a lot of them from the England setup, similar age to a lot of them. But I think he'd be the perfect signing. And him in that box-to-box role that Xhaka's been playing recently, that Partey kind of fills as well. Declan Rice would be brilliant in that role for Arsenal.
Did you see Gary Neville's prediction? That was like bang on, by the way. You see it? Have you seen it?
Which one's it?
He went... this was like in January or something, wasn't it? And he was like, listen, City are going to run away with this title. And at that point, everyone was like, what are you on about? And he just went, listen, they'll get, they'll do you at the Etihad, they'll get a couple of points ahead of you, then they'll win 2 games, you'll lose 2 games, and before you know it, And it's like exactly what's happened. And
you know, man.
What's mad though is that like as much as it's like fair enough saying that, backing it, it's not too.
It wasn't
too like off the path of thing to say, really, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Back in January, though, like, Arsenal were like points ahead. They were looking unbeatable.
We were saying great on this on the first episode we did.
Yeah.
Will Arsenal do it? When we were questioning will they do it when they were miles ahead.
Yeah,
we were still all saying will they?
But we were also kind of going, I think they will. I thought they were going to win it.
But the fact that debate is a thing, is just Man City.
It just surprised me that the reaction in the studio we got, where everyone's like, what?
Yeah, everyone was outraged.
I suppose there might have been a lot of Arsenal fans there, to be fair. But the other end of the table, heating up, isn't it?
It is certainly. So going into a good friend of ours who's he's a fan of the Blues has I think he's done this out of like sheer
because he's got
being traumatized, to be honest, rather than like so we've worked out every possible scenario that can unfold on the final day, and there's 27 of them, right?
Right, okay.
19 of those Everton stay up, 2 of those Leeds stay up, and 6 of them Leicester stay up. So if Everton win, they're safe.
Yeah, okay.
If Everton lose and Leicester win, Leicester are fine. For Leeds, I think Leeds, to be fair, need a bit of a miracle.
Yeah. They are playing Tottenham, so they'll probably get one, to be fair.
I think if Leeds win, they need both teams effectively to lose.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm not sure. I don't think goal difference plays a massive issue, to be honest.
What happens if Everton draw and Leicester win?
If Everton draw and Leicester win, Leicester are up.
Right. So
but there's 2 going down, isn't it? So only one of them can stay up.
3.
Yeah.
So, but if Everton win, that's it.
If Everton win, they're safe.
I've seen a thing. It's like 2% chance of Everton going down at the moment.
Really?
Yeah.
It's mad.
I still think they can throw it.
I mean they definitely can.
Bournemouth is not an easy game.
No.
In terms of your actual prediction, then, do you reckon who's going down?
Well, I want Leicester to stay up, but I think it's going to be Everton that's going to stay up. I think they'll get the result against Bournemouth, being at Goodison Park on the last day of the season. I think the Blues are going to turn up. They're not going to have much of a choice with the amount of Scousers they're going to be screaming at them to stay up. Like,
I just can't see. Like, I can't picture the Ev in that red writing at the bottom of the table at the end of the season that says relegated with an R next to them. I just can't see that as like.
We've never seen it before.
So who have Leicester got? Sorry, before I make my prediction.
Leicester
are playing
West Ham United.
Yeah, who've got the final, haven't they? Yeah. They've got a big European final.
See, I reckon Leicester will win, but it's just whether Everton will win.
Yeah. I think they're both going to win.
Yeah,
and I even think Leeds might beat Tottenham as well.
Yeah,
I could see all three
teams winning.
Yeah,
that might not
Leeds
be a bad
going
down.
down.
That's a little
slam
pod
bet the odds are pretty nice.
A little slam pod tip, all 3 teams win end of the season.
Take a 10% charge on that.
yeah, commissions.
But yeah, it'll be exciting. I reckon it's going to be the only thing on the table for the Premier League that day.
Yeah.
I reckon top 4 is going to be done.
It's going to be, isn't it?
It's
Like,
probably
United
gonna be
need
done.
1 point.
Every time we
point.
play each other, United, Chelsea play each other, we draw.
It's a
Every
banker.
time Liverpool, Chelsea play each other, we draw.
It's a banker
Although
for
I've
a
seen
point.
some absolute prick with his new Man United shirt for next season with Champions League badges on the sleeve.
He must have been on the wind up though. I can't.
So,
I just that's the only way
Fulham
I
and
see it.
Chelsea have an opportunity to make Twitter heritage.
We've seen United fans get like Pogba on the back before he even signed.
Yeah,
they're always doing that
It
stuff.
happens every team though. Every team's like that.
And what have you described as a West London
masterclass Liverpool need.
Yeah.
Fulham and Chelsea have got to beat United for Liverpool.
Listen, do you know
to get a
what?
sniff.
Like, there's every chance in the world that can happen.
Weirder things have happened.
You've lost 2 games on the bounce this season.
Yeah.
Man United going into both of them games thinking we need a point.
Yeah,
It's going to happen, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I think because we've been quite good at home as well. To be fair.
Yeah.
So I reckon home. If they were both
I do
away,
think-
then I'd be a lot more worried. I think, but
yeah.
Thing is as well, like a mad one is I think if it is dead going into the last game of the season, I think we'll just play like a mad little B team and give.
But what's the point? You've not got any like other games.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming up. You may as well play.
It'll be like a little farewell for everyone who's leaving. And
I always quite like those games, those dead rubber end of season games. Weirdly, I just think
Plus, you are playing at your second home ground
It's
in
like an
Southampton.
extension of pre-season for next year, isn't it? In a way,
you know, you get a look at players you don't normally see and stuff. It's sometimes positives.
I mean, I would much rather be in the Champions League
Well,
in fairness, but than see Ben Doak get 15 minutes. Like, I think it's done.
Side.
I think it's done. But listen, Europa League finals in Dublin next year,
Yeah.
and what a day out that will be.
That will be
Yeah, that'll be funny.
That's me just assuming that we'd win that, by the way.
Probably won't, to be fair.
Well,
Tougher
Alexis
than you think,
McAllister is on his way.
Yeah.
All sources say it's basically done.
You happy with that?
Yeah, I am. To be fair,
Yeah, he's a
I
good
am
player,
with that. He's a good
McAllister.
player. He's a good footballer. We spoke about him a few times. That Argentina team, he looked really good. He's obviously been one of Brighton's main men, but in a way that like I can see exactly how he'd slot into our system.
Yeah.
And I think obviously we've got like Milner leaving, Keita going. So
you need a lot of new midfield.
yeah, I think we will. I think some more. will come in.
McAllister's a good start, but I still think.
But he's like the odds like to let Thiago do what he does and then have a rest. And I think he's the ideal signing. I think he'll complement the new front three the way they're going to play. I think his weight rate because he can play as a number 6 really really well as well, which I like in terms of Trent playing that inverted position.
Yeah, but he's not so much a defensive 6; he's more of a ball playing 6.
Exactly. But he's box to box, to be honest. He's box to box. But I like him. Really happy with it. I don't know who else we're linked with about 50 names, but it's just a shame. I don't think we're gonna be in the Champions League next season. But
no, I don't think he will. And another team that is gonna pretty much they have confirmed their spot in the Europa League now is Brighton.
It's Brighton.
What are you on to De Zerbi's comments that Brighton making Europa League is more prestigious than a top 6 team winning the league?
That's the most ridiculous thing.
I think it's absolute.
That is just stupid. Like, yeah, all right, it's really, really good that you finished. Let's not.
Yeah, like chill out,
calm
a
down.
bit.
You've qualified.
I get what he's saying in that it might be more impressive than Man City winning the Prem, but the rest, like this season, but the rest of the top 6 winning the Premier League, that is. I mean, that's way more prestigious.
Regardless
and
of winning
impressive.
the Premier League is winning a league title
Clearly.
is should be the most prestigious thing that you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Also, it didn't even sound like he was like bigging up his players. It just sounded like, look how good I am, bro. I got this fucking club to Europe.
Yeah.
Come on, mate.
By doing
Chill out.
effectively everything exactly the same as Graham Potter.
Graham
did.
Potter got it there.
Graham Potter.
De Zerbi just carried him over again.
It is mad though. They just replaced Graham Potter so seamlessly.
Seamlessly,
It's
yeah.
like,
But see Guardiola talking about De Zerbi, and he was like, from what he's done with Brighton this season, he's now one of the most influential Premier League managers of all time.
Just because it's
And
his
I'm
mate.
chill the fuck out.
It's literally just because they're friends.
What are you talking about? And
Yeah.
and to be honest, part of the reason they are where they are, obviously they've been fantastic this season, is some teams have been shite who shouldn't have been this shite. And that's why they are where they are.
Well, let's not take too much away from Brighton. They've done very well. Like,
but I'm just like, I'm not like...
yeah,
it's
some
more
teams haven't
impressive than a
turned
team
up
winning
this
the league.
season. Yeah.
No, it isn't.
It's definitely not.
he's got a bit of the Marco Silva vibe about him, I think, does it?
Yeah.
Where he's going to have a really good season like he's had this season, fair play.
There'll be a Watford in 2 years.
Yeah, he'll just drop off a bit.
The maddest thing, though, is like, if they end up getting turned into like our new Southampton, for example, like let's say we sign McAllister, which Casido goes somewhere.
Yeah.
They'll probably keep hold of Matoma for next season. Ferguson signed a new contract, which is good. But if they start getting pillaged over the next 2-3 seasons, plus with European football on top of the games that they're playing, next season they could come like 15th, quite easily.
Yeah, Pat on Football Daily made a point, which was they need to decide what they want to be. Do they want to be the best of the rest and just like bring in new players, make money on selling good players, and then bring in and raise them up? Or do they want to compete for Europe? Do they want to push for that top 4 spot? And that's what you've got to decide as a football club.
You've got to build on it, haven't you? You've got to build on it. But I think that's also extremely hard to do because straight away, like Liverpool have come in from McAllister.
Yeah.
So if someone else comes in and turns someone else's head,
someone else's head
as well. How do you build on it?
But you're getting funds in, and they've clearly got very talented scouts and very talented youth setup. I don't know if the youth players they're bringing in, I think they are from other academies, aren't they? Yeah. But they've clearly got a pipeline for talent. And if they're getting big money, then that just means they can bring in even better talent coming in.
It's an amazing scouting network they've got. And I would actually argue, if I was another team, I'd be like, just whoever they're linked to, just buy them.
That's fishy though. That can go really wrong for you.
I know, but
that can bite you on the arse.
That's a very risky move.
I just think
that. Do you know what Chelsea did? Pinch all their scouting staff, mate.
Yeah, could do that as well.
Well, what Chelsea do is when Chelsea go and scout like an under-15s game, they go, tell you what, let's just sign all of them.
Just in case.
Just in case.
Loan them out. But yeah, Newcastle obviously confirmed Champions League as well.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, that obviously a lot for me gets taken away from Newcastle. I refuse to give credit as this fairy tale story of like 18 months ago they're in the relegation zone, now they're in the Champions League. I'm not asked really. You're owned by Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. But it's not like they've gone out and spent 100, 200 million. They bought smart. They bought Bruno for about 50.
Relative to what they did spend, they spent a lot of money.
Yeah, true. And it's not, no one's saying it's fairy tale, but I think it's just happened a lot quicker than people were expecting.
Yeah, definitely.
And it is impressive. Like, again, going back to what we were saying about City, if we separate the allegations and where it comes from just to the football, like Callum Wilson is now a 20-goal season striker in a top 4 side. Yeah. Like that's cool. That's the kind of football fairy tale shit I like. Not that the Saudis have bought Newcastle. It's the fact that Callum Wilson is now doing so good. But Miggy Almiron is a Champions League player.
In a way that it's happened that quick is almost, I think, made a bit of not a mockery of it, but like just it annoys you more that it's that simple now. You can be took over and a year later you can be a Champions League team.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know.
It is, but modern life.
I know what you're saying. Like, I think you have to give massive credit to Eddie Howe.
Yeah, definitely.
That team, as much as they've had a big investment in, obviously, I don't think it's not quite good enough for Champions League. But he's made it a Champions League team.
To me, it reminds me of when Leicester won the Prem and then got to. Was it they were in the Champions League semi-finals the season after, weren't they? But like,
I mean, they got knocked out.
Semis or quarters? Quarters, I think it was quarters. And you were looking at them and they got there, but you were like, what? You know that picture of the polar bear on Twitter, and it's like, what is a polar bear doing?
But I mean, you can they've got talented players. They're a good side, and you can get very far to the Champions League with determination and hard work. Like, would you say that Porto would get to the top 4 of the Premier League? Probably not, but they can get to the semi-finals of the Champions League.
I would.
You're wearing a Porto shirt. I meant Benfica. In my head, I was thinking Benfica.
It's funny that I've got a bit of a bone to pick about the whole Champions League thing, and I'll let Newcastle off because they've been out of it for so long. But I hate teams celebrating getting top 4 like a trophy.
Yeah.
And I'd hate it if, like, say United draw with Chelsea or beat Chelsea on Thursday, and we started to really celebrate, and I'd be like, what are you doing?
Do you know where I think that comes from? Championship team mentality. You get a trophy when you finish third.
You mean like invading the pitch after winning the Premier League 3 times in a row?
That is. To be fair, that also massively does my head in. By the way,
what pitch invasions?
Pitch invasions. But tell you where I'll have a pitch invasion. Sheffield Wednesday the other day. Yeah, I'll take a pitch invasion.
Luton Town.
You can have a pitch invasion, boys. Yeah. Fair enough. City, what are you doing?
Do you know what was quite funny though? Is because I was at the City game, and from about the 60th minute, every 10 minutes, the announcer would go, "Please do not go on the pitch. Do not go on the pitch." And then as soon as it happened, all the stewards went, there you go, guys. I see videos of this fat bloke trying to jump on the pitch. They just pick him up and just let him back. He just goes on again. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I agree. It should be very special circumstances. You get pitch invasion.
It
should be a guy.
Listen, we beat Barcelona 4-0 together. No pitch invasion. No pitch invasion.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, but yeah, that, like, as you said, celebrating top 4 like a trophy, it is mental. It's like, did you know, by the way, if you finish second in the championship, you get a trophy?
I see that, like from the last 2 years or something.
Yeah. Finish second in the Football League, you get a trophy. Yeah. Like, what? That's what it screams of.
It's the exact same thing, isn't it? Yeah.
They'll bring out trophies for top 4 in the next 5 years.
They probably will.
They probably will.
I'm surprised there isn't, like, when Man United play Liverpool or, like, Chelsea play, like, that doesn't have a like in rugby where they have, like, the mini...
Like the Calcutta Cup and...
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the top 4, I reckon it will become more like that. It's almost like a trophy itself, and it's just stupid. Especially because the fact, like, all right, I understand your point. Any team could get to the semis and maybe do it, but Newcastle probably aren't going to win the Champions League. I don't think I'm pushing about out saying that, and yet they're celebrating getting into it. I'm like,
it's like when we spoke about Man United a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? And we said that would you rather come 5th with an FA Cup and a League Cup win, or come 4th with no trophies? And to me, it's the trophies.
100% the trophies.
But then football, do you think that the financial disparity and, like, the money that Champions League football brings is that essential now to progress as a club?
Not when you've got a Saudi backing.
Well, yeah, exactly. But, like, is that something else to consider? But obviously maybe not with Newcastle and Man City because they're not asked. But the likes of us, especially, we needed Champions League football massively in terms of investment-wise. We lose, like, a lot of money from not playing in it. Yeah. But I think that financial disparity is that, like, people look at top 4 now. Realistically, as a football fan, you should not be thinking we need top 4 because we get more money from it. You should be thinking, like, away days.
Exactly. I hate that mindset of the whole. You think about the financial side of it. It's like that's not really what football's about. Is it?
But it is now. But like,
I know. But
not to the layman. Just like going to games and watching it in the pub. Like it's not about that.
You could spunk 70 million on Sancho and it's wasted, and that's your Champions League money for that year. And it's so what?
But the thing is as well, like, what you get in the Champions League. Like, let's say you go out in the groups. Say like Newcastle. Really, I don't think they're going to win it. I think they'll, depending on who they get in a group, you'd like to think they can get out of a group. I think
especially because they're going to invest in the summer as well. Yeah, like, they're looking at Savoy.
Well, Eddie Howe said today it's a big summer transfer window for them. I think worse teams of them get out their group. I think they'll probably get out their group. But let's say you get out your group and then you go out. Was it? Like,
well, you come third. You're now in the Europa League. Like it's definitely worth something.
But
especially when you were in the Championship like 10 years ago, and now you're going to go play Barcelona. Like it's cool, man. It's a lot of fun.
It is cool. Those big games are cool. But like,
I would like to ask a Newcastle fan though. Yeah. Would they have rather beat you
and won a trophy
in the League Cup final, or took this top 4 spot? Well, I think if you say top 4, you're probably lying.
Yeah, 100%. If you say top 4, you don't go to games or like.
But I think a lot of Newcastle fans are just seeing this as the start. Like I think they see a lot of trophies in their future, so I don't know if they're in much of a rush. Obviously, you want the trophy, but I think it'd be more important to see stable growth, like in your team.
And stable growth is like inevitable when you can throw around that level of money.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah. But like that's what I'd want to see. I'd want to see my team like really setting themselves as a top side. Like,
and I sort of let Newcastle off because like they've not been in Europe for ages, haven't they? So it's,
and you can't punish
the fans. Like
you can't punish the fans for like Saudis coming in. Like,
that's not. But it just made me think like seeing them go mad over the top 4.
Also, I really disagree with. They shouldn't celebrate that much. Let them celebrate as much as they've had a great time. They're probably
a fan, enjoy it.
Like,
if you're a fan of the club, and you obviously
go crazy, mate.
Like
go
City
enjoy
fans
your life.
wouldn't trade. There was a guy. What's that podcast where like they have like the pints and it's like strongly agree, strongly disagree.
Oh yeah.
There was a lad on that and he was talking about Man City and he was saying that like I think it was that anyway, and he said that basically like the memories he's created for this Man City team, even if they get found guilty of whatever and there's a big fat asterisk next to all of their achievements, he's been in like sat there in relegation scraps and going to like and now he's got to take his son to Wembley like 8 times and like stuff like that. So if you're a fan, you're never, ever, ever going to swap that.
You can't take the memories away, no.
crack on. Like, that's amazing. Enjoy it. But I think you also need to be aware of when you're boasting that success, you should remember why it came.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. To be aware of that, I think is fine.
Yeah, to be aware of it, but I don't think you could. Like, if you're a City fan and you're gassed because you're about to win the treble, you can't go, let's not celebrate too much though, because the Middle East is a bit fucked.
I just mean like celebrate all you want, but I think you should be aware in your head that the reason why you've won 3 Premier Leagues on the bounce, is because you've potentially broke 115.
Well, it's even like just don't defend your owners. Like, you could just say, listen, I know the dicks, but they're not.
Listen, we play fantastic football, but
and I think everyone would go fair play.
Yeah,
So that's the way to do it. It's the blind just defense of ownership.
But that's football, though. You get stubborn about your club. You get very protective over your club.
Do you know, I think if Man United, if the Qatari takeover of Man United goes forward, I actually think your fan base would be quite.
I
don't think they would once they start winning Premier Leagues and Champions League.
No, I reckon the match-going fans would.
Yeah, some of them like proper Mancunians that follow Manchester United, sure. Yeah. But the vast majority of the Man United fan base aren't that. Yeah. They're just people that want to see them win.
Like, as Shay's, like the match-going fans, because when you spoke about it the other day, and as you said, you need them almost knobheads to hang on and make the noise. But I think you'd have like a core group of Man United supporters that would recognise and say, like, if there was like
for sure
human rights issues in Qatar, or not just to Qatar.
I'd also argue part of that is because that's what they've been slating City for the past 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
So they've built up that hatred towards it. But I think if they were in the City's position where in 2008 they got bought by the Saudis, be very different. Or Qataris even be different.
Man United had a far higher degree of success prior to the takeover.
So that's why I think it's different, isn't it? Because like City fans didn't know. Didn't know success like that. Whereas United.
But that's not the issue we're talking about. We're not saying the issue is that City didn't have success and now they do. We're saying the issue is they've got success from Qataris who made their money in very suspicious ways.
Yeah, and not even where the money comes from. It's the human rights issues.
It's all the other issues surrounding that
where
region.
That money comes from. But I think the difference would be Man United fans have experienced almost that same level without that. So if they were to have that sort of takeover and then they got back to that level of success, I think their fans would be able to be like, all right, yeah, we're back. But at the same time, they'd be like, but we're not happy with this.
Yeah. I do think that would be the case, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
We will. Well, you might be a Saudi conglomerate soon, anyway. So.
I'll be coming in with my
when Man United's away next season, green and white.
Pochettino.
Pochettino is on his way to the bridge. Ollie,
on his way. Yeah, it's exciting appointment. I think we spoke about it a lot last week as well, but yeah, I think this is what Chelsea need: a manager with Premier League experience, know-how. He seems to be teaching like Bowley a bit about football as well. Like I know He's had a lot of say in like the players that they're looking at and scouting. Like he's separated ball winning 6 and defensive 6s, and like he's being much more meticulous. Whereas before Chelsea just seemed to be going, he's good, let's get him. Like I think he's gonna change a lot around the structure of the club, and I'm excited about that because it bloody well needs it. You know what I mean?
Are you still backing your shout last week that give him 3 years, sack him?
Ask me in 2027, mate. I don't know.
Would you confess on live on the Slam Pod that have you ever called him a bottler, Pochettino, for
more just Tottenham? I don't think I've ever really gone at like Pochettino. I'm sure I slagged him off in the past. Like, he was a Spurs manager.
I won't blame you for
that. I've never blamed Pochettino because he took Tottenham weren't like expecting to do as well as they did under Poch, so it clearly wasn't him bottling stuff.
And it's still the best they've ever done.
Yeah, exactly.
With Tottenham though, specifically when you talk about like their bottle sort of culture, Adam Johnson, who by the way, you will definitely be watching.
2 shout-outs he's had.
He's 2 shout-outs there. He's the infamous blue that calculated all the scenarios earlier. He fucking hates Spurs.
Who doesn't hate Spurs?
For the reason being, and Everton are a bigger club than Tottenham.
Yeah,
definitely.
You guys seem to be so sure of that. Everton, I don't think either of them are that big.
Everton are a bigger club.
Tottenham have also been in the Football League like since its creation as
Everton
well.
have won it.
I think
Tottenham not won a league title.
Everton won the league. I think is it the fourth, maybe fifth most? I think after United, City, Arsenal.
Yeah. I'd argue Newcastle are bigger than Tottenham as well. To be fair,
I think Newcastle are.
They've
I think they are a club that
around
people say
for a
bigger
long
than they
time.
are.
Yeah,
but
I think it's because one club City, aren't they? So
Everton are bigger than Spurs. But the reason Adam fucking hates Spurs, and he's got a really good point with it, is Spurs just. The only reason Spurs are this like big six club as we know them today with the infrastructure that they have is because they just happen to be all right at the time when like money hit football, and it got franchised into like these like what we see today. They just happen to be okay at that point.
I don't think anyone could give you a real answer as to why Tottenham are involved in the Big Six. I don't think there's a reason for it. I think they're just there. Like
they just make it the six. Yeah.
Can anyone actually argue why they're there? Like they've won one League Cup in the last like 30, 40 years. I swear. I'm probably completely wrong there or something.
It's just because
they've won one in 2008.
They've always got decent players, haven't they?
They've always had decent players, but it's just the position on the table. They've always, to be fair, more times than not been that sixth team or sixth or fifth team.
Yeah,
so, but
it's a bit mad, isn't it? Because the team below Tottenham is usually best of the rest, isn't it? But is that not what Spurs are?
Spurs are, yeah.
But when did the top six become a thing? Because it wasn't a thing when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was because Man City were in it, innit?
It was always like your big four, wasn't it? It was like Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea.
That was it, actually, wasn't it? It was the big. Now it's become the big six, City and Tottenham.
But then it goes through waves anyway. Like I don't even know. Big Six just needs to be made up by Sky Sports like 10 years ago.
I suppose that thing that Adam said it's a good point. Like it's totally by chance, isn't it? That they're in it because they were good.
Massively.
But I'd argue that is the case through all football. That like, see, United are one of the biggest teams in the world now because they got. Well, I think there's other reasons to this, obviously, but one of the main reasons was they got really good in the 90s. When the Premier League came in and they're the best.
Yeah, that's when the money starts happening.
So and I think there'll be loads of other examples where little things.
Right time, right place.
Yeah, like teams like Forest and Villa were kind of just in the wrong place at the right time.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there's two sides to it, but I know what he means though, because Everton are bigger. But
they won't be as big once they go to the Championship, though, will they? Let's be real. Like.
Right, that's half our viewership. You'll see on the Spotify analytics later a big fuck off.
I've seen people making concept kits at Everton next year, putting the Championship logo.
I have seen some crack. Like Adam who's sat there now going. I've seen like the only ship docking at Bramley Moor next season's the Championship.
And Dele Alli's code coming in from the Columbia.
But lads, did anyone watch? Because we've got to mention it. The Sheffield Wednesday's playoff comeback.
I watched it in the pub. Yeah, it was fucking awesome, man.
Unbelievable. When it went to extra time and then they were losing again after the own goal, I thought that's it. That's it.
It was brilliant. I put it on. I saw they were 2-0 up, and I thought, hang on a minute here. I want to be here just in case it happens. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant, and that's. This is the argument for the playoffs, I suppose. I've heard this. Like, are you in favour of the playoffs? Because
I love the playoffs.
Before they turned it around, Sheffield Wednesday were being used as the argument because I think they finished on 94, 96 points.
Yeah.
I've forgotten who they were playing. Who was it?
Peterborough,
yeah.
Peterborough.
They finished, I think it was at least 25 points behind them, or so it was around 20-odd points behind them. And yet, because of that one-off game, people thought they would, obviously, they turned it around at the end. Yeah, but like, do you find that?
I think the playoffs are great fun. Yeah. I think they just like I can see the argument why it's annoying. Like I finished third, you finished sixth. Why are you now getting promoted? But if you don't finish in the top two, you can't really be complaining that you didn't get automatic promotion. Well, you know what happens. You know how it works.
If I was like looking at that National League though, Notts County.
Yeah, but that's because there's only one automatic.
Yeah, they went to pens on their playoff game to go up. And the team that I can't remember who they were playing actually in the final, but they won on pens, and the team that was the runner up was like the sixth, and we're like 27 points behind them in the league. So when you look like that, if you go up and second has only narrowly missed out on winning the league, and then you'd be like,
but I like it because it's like if you want to be in the league above, can you perform when the pressure's on? Like you didn't win the title. You're not the best team there. Can you win?
League football's not knockout football, is it?
It's not, but I don't know. It's a bit of fun in it.
That's
great fun, and it's a chance to go to Wembley that most football league teams don't get a chance to go to Wembley. This is a chance to see your team play in
Makes
the biggest stadium
load of
in
money
England.
as well.
I totally agree with your point, by the way, because I think it is class and you get games like that. That's just brilliant. But then
and like Troy Deeney's moment a few years ago.
I've not had a team in that situation, and I know if I'm trying to picture myself like, say, United were in that situation and we'd finished where Sheffield Wednesday finished, and then we got just done on a one-off game.
Yeah.
You'd be like.
But then vice versa. You're mid-table, and then suddenly you're 3 points away from the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you just scrape in the playoffs, and you're like, holy shit, we actually could go up.
It makes the championship so much better, doesn't it? Because like you said, you have those teams that are like 14th that still have a
still
chance.
competitive.
If they can get into the playoffs, they can get up. They can get promoted.
So I think I'm in
See all the stories with it though as well of like the lad that filmed himself ripping his ticket up after the first leg and stuff.
That's on you, mate.
A mate of mine put in our group chat actually, he was like, his mate's a Peterborough fan, was in Croatia on holiday.
Yeah.
Flying home the day of the game, so like wasn't watching, couldn't like check the results or anything, and he was like, fuck, he's gonna get to the airport, check his phone, see it's gone to pens, and his head's just gonna just he's booked his coach and everything for Wembley and just
Have you seen that one where the loads of Sheffield Wednesday fans were ripping this woman that was setting up coaches for them, like after the first leg, they're like, she put a number on this like poster, they're all texting like, what are you doing? And then literally all of them were texting after like, so sorry, can I have a seat? That was funny. But have you seen the concept? Someone put a concept for a playoff in the Premier League that the teams from 3rd to 8th, 3rd to 7th would play off for the Champions League.
That's bollocks.
Do you think
you can finish 7th in the Premier League now and play European football next season.
Yeah, I suppose it wouldn't work, would it?
No, I wouldn't really like that. I mean, they do playoffs for Europe anyway, innit? But no one gives an ass.
Okay. Just shut my idea down then. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, no, it'd be funny to like if like Liverpool finished 3rd and they got knocked out by Tottenham, that'd be fucking hilarious. But I don't know.
Ollie,
it doesn't seem to work.
Just before we move on to, I think you've got a little bit of a quiz for us.
I've got a little quiz for you.
Yeah.
I want to see, because you peeped me right in this question and you both seem pretty rattled.
I couldn't Google it, could I? So like.
No, well, that was the point. Who is the only non-European manager to win the Premier League?
See, I have got it.
Have you got it?
I know for certain I've got it because I remembered where he's from. So how long do we leave this area? We're blank.
So you're telling me that if I got the club, it's pretty obvious from there.
Yeah, well, it's not like, oh, it's him, but you work it out in 10 seconds probably.
So he's got to be South American.
He is South American, yeah. Viewers, if you know this, just like scream it out, and I'll hear you, but I won't react until Matt gets it.
Is he Brazilian or is it?
Nah, he's not Brazilian.
It'd be good if we did this live and we could have a phone in. We'll have to do that. We'll do that.
It's fucking everything I think of, I'm like, nah, he's Italian, he's Spanish.
That's because there's only been one, so you got to think of that exact one. Right, do you want the club?
You might have to. We've got 5 aside in 10 minutes.
Man City.
Won it with Man City.
He won it with Man City.
He's Italian. Pellegrini. What?
He's not Italian, by the way.
Pellegrini.
That man's not Italian.
He's not. Is he? Oh, he's Argentinian.
He's from Chile.
Oh shit! He is.
He's from Chile.
That's what I was like, where is he from? But yeah, it's Chile, isn't it?
Yeah. Pellegrini is the only non-European manager to win the Premier League.
I'll take that. We got there.
We'll have to do this every week, I reckon. Little
question. It's fun.
Ollie, do you want to quickly go over a little shout out for a charity match going on?
There's a charity match going on between two great charities: Weapons Down, Gloves Up, and No More Knives. Both trying to get rid of life crime and improve young men's and women's mental health within the city. And they're putting a game on in July in Marine. Two coaches, Paddy the Baddie and Robbie Fowler, which I can't wait to see them scrapping on the sideline.
Touchline scrap there, yeah.
Maybe we'll see a charity boxing match in 10 years, who knows.
It'd be good if Paddy the Baddie tactically out masterclass Robbie Fowler.
That'd be amazing.
Football,
if they all came out wearing Paddy the Baddie wigs.
Yeah,
and Teddy Belly is playing in it as well. He's a big ambassador for the.
Who else is going down? There's a few other people.
There is a few.
Put you on the spot a bit there.
Put you on the spot. Let me just. I know Natasha Jonas.
Yeah, Natasha Jonas is playing.
Yeah, she's playing.
Neil Mellor's there, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, Peter Reid. Neil Razor Ruddock. Yeah. It should be a good laugh. I reckon it'll be a good day.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good. Let's get down to that.
It'd be cool. Marine Stadium's quite cool as well because they've only got the one stand. And if the ball goes too high on the wrong side, it's in someone's garden. And too high on the other side, it's in someone's garden.
Just a little shout as well. We're talking about charities. Is Graham Souness, isn't it? Is anyone seeing what he's in June?
Yeah, I saw him on this morning.
He's swimming the channel for Deborah charity, which is to help children with this horrible skin condition, which, to be honest, I'm not sure if I pronounced this properly.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
It is a bit of a mouthful, but he's doing it for Deborah, this charity, and he was on this morning, wasn't he, with this little girl that he's sort of befriended over the last couple of years and helped out a lot on it. It's smashing that in it, like it's fantastic. He's finished on Sky now, isn't he? So best of luck to that as well.
Good
it's one
luck
of those
to you,
things
bro.
that, like, I think it's hard to picture how hard swimming the channel is, like, because you look at it on a map and it looks tiny,
it's
but
pretty tough.
It's hard to
I've
picture.
like swam in the sea quite a bit, just like jumping off a boat and like swimming back. You stop for 5 seconds, you've been pushed by a tide.
It's not
current,
that's it, because you think it's like swimming in a pool. It's not, is it? It's completely different.
Even in like the height of summer as well, it's cold.
Yeah,
it's cold, and it's still like billowy. Like, you think when you see it on a map, it doesn't look that big, but the waves still get up there. Like, they'll be splashing about all over the place. It's really kudos to anyone that can do that, because I could not.
It's good luck, Graham. I'm sure he's watching.
Sure he's there.
He's a big fan.
The Ultimate Fighter kicks off as well soon, doesn't
Ultimate
it?
Fighter kicks off. I'm so gassed for this series.
So just explain for people like me who might not know
So
what
it's a reality TV show that the UFC have been putting on for a while now, and they get two groups of fighters, and they all live in a big house together. They all train every day, fight every day, live together every day. It can get pretty heated. Apparently, you can just get whatever you want in there. If you want a pack of Stella, get a pack of Stella. Get what you want, mate. But that seems great fun. But the two coaches, so they always bring in two UFC superstars to take control of the two teams and kind of guide them in their journey to be the ultimate fighter. That's the idea. And it's Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler, two of the most exciting fighters in the most exciting division in lightweight, and it's going to be a corker, to be fair.
Then usually fight as well.
Yeah, so McGregor and Chandler will fight.
So is that definitely like happening then?
It's been confirmed that that's the next matchup for both guys. It's looking like December. Conor was out of USADA for ages, so they weren't sure if it was going to happen. Basically, that's the drug testing company. But now he's finally back in it. So
you've got to be in their testing pool for so long.
Yeah, it's like 6 months
before you can fight.
Like yeah.
Some of the footage I've been seeing of him recently, I'm not surprised he stayed away.
It's because he broke his leg in his last fight. It got mangled. He used steroids to like help recover and speed up the process, which I'm actually all for. If you want to leave USADA to get better and use steroids to help yourself build up, like, I don't think enough fighters actually do that, because it can be very beneficial. And as long as you're back in USADA 6 months before you fight,
it's fine. As long as you
why
fight
not?
clean,
Yeah,
you fight clean.
as long as you're fighting clean.
He just every bit of footage I see of McGregor, it reminds me of like being at some afters and there's some guy in the corner just like shadow boxing.
Shadow boxing, talking someone's ear.
Uppercut, roll.
You'll do nothing.
Yeah, but to be fair, like, he's obviously a bit of a knobhead, but he's quite funny, isn't he?
What was that scene you saw from a clip from the Ultimate Fighter?
Oh, mate, he walks in. So it's a clip from it, when it airs next week. It must be on the first episode. So he walks in when the two coaches meet, like, get introduced to the teams. So Chandler's in there. And then McGregor walks in, like, suited and booted, completely dressed to the nines. He walks in, and they're just having a little bit of back and forth, like banter, and he comes out with something like, to Chandler, McGregor says, "Have I told you what weight the fight's going to be at yet? 185. And Chandler's like, 185? Yeah, I can do 185. McGregor just goes, "You'll do what you're told." Because, like, he knows he's the face of
He's the boss. Like, he's literally the boss.
He will decide, and he's got no say. Anyone caught the boxing at the weekends?
I didn't, but man,
big fight. So
this wasn't the because that Irish girl was fighting, wasn't it? Is that different?
No, this was different. That was Katie Taylor. That was Vasily Lomachenko is one of the goats. Like, been fantastic, but it's almost like that classic young, up and coming superstar, new champion, old boy trying to. Devin Haney he's the belts. He's the undisputed champion. He's like, I think he's either 23 or he's 24. He's super young, undefeated, all the belts at that age, and he's like an absolute beast. He's just incredible. And Lomachenko, it was his big comeback. He won his last fight after a bit of a sticky run, and he's mad. Like, Lomachenko, if anyone doesn't know much of him, he's really like unorthodox in how he trains, like how as a boxer. He does like ballet and things like that. Like, he's awesome. And then he had a bit of time out. He's Ukrainian, so he was fighting in Ukraine. He come back and there was this big super fight to win back his belts. He lost by decision, which, to be fair, was a joke. It was a draw. Arguably, Loma won. Yeah. There's one of the judges in particular 100% needs to come out and explain his decision because it was absolutely a joke. But on the undercard for it was a great fight, but the undercard, I was watching it in ours, and there was an Australian lad fighting this Japanese fella called Nakatani. One of the best knockouts you'll see.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, brutal, and like, but the fella was all right, so it's okay now. But like, mate, one of the best knockouts. If you like boxing, if you like UFC, any combat sport,
or you just want to see someone getting knocked out,
or you just want to see an incredible knockout, search up Nakatani knockout. It is, mate, it's insane. It's incredible. Big overhand.
I have to watch that.
But yeah, it was a great night of boxing. Katie Taylor as well. That was a big event that was going on. She lost. But it was cool. Everyone was there as well, ringside, by the way, which is cool. It was a lot of support from like the British boxing team for that.
Well, I think that's all from us this week.
That's all from us.
Big weekend of football coming up. Last game of the season.
Big Sunday. We'll see you next week. Yeah. And Adam might not want to ever watch this again.
Oh, lights gone off.
Lights out. I think that means we're gone. So see you later.
See you later.